People value their follows. People value who they follow, and they don't want to know that they're going to follow somebody that's going to give up on them. They don't want to follow dead accounts. They don't want to follow someone that's just like one-offing.
What's up, everyone? Back with another edition of the Nailed It podcast and vlog with my buddy Jon Cater. We're going to be talking about how you can create better content within the roofing industry, how you can really build your brand and stand out and do some things that you just don't see every day in roofing and contracting. So, welcome, Jon. What's going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate it, especially you're a busy man.
Likewise, brother. And we've been working together in context of our company, my company, Contractor Dynamics, and the company that you're working with, Alpha One Exteriors, in Ohio and in Dallas, Fort Worth, going right into the gauntlet and the Metroplex there. So we've known each other for a couple months here, going back and forth on our training program and calls and whatnot. But we wanted to chat on the podcast here because you are kind of new to the roofing industry, but you've got a very extensive background in media and content creation and marketing and influencer marketing and things like that, which is cool to see you bring that into the roofing industry. So let's start there, Jon. Let's dive into a little bit of your backstory and who you are.
Yeah, in media, So in media, I actually started like my whole journey just in media in high school in general. I was just like making content. YouTube was so young. It was easy. There was like a popular page that you could get hosted on. Me and my buddy, we were making content, and we were making it for like 13 and 15 year old kids that were just like, I don't know if you have if you have kids, but like, sometimes they'll sit in front of YouTube and they'll just like watch someone, right? And you're like, you have no idea who this person is, but they're like, oh no, I gotta tune into like, to like KSI's, or the Sidemen's like Sunday vlogs and stuff like that. So like we were making stuff like that in high school, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and let alone being able to like collect the AdSense off of it, because like we're in high school. And so it's like there were a lot of fast moving parts because we jumped on a platform kind of quickly when we were younger, and I had to like learn on the fly, like a lot of stuff. Started networking more with creators in the community. There were people like Smosh and Zoella and Tyler Oakley and just like all these, big names that we were in like a collab channel with like Charlie Puth and like a bunch of other people that now you see in mainstream media and you go, oh my God, like that's where they started. And it's funny because like everybody starts from somewhere. So this is my start in, with roofing. Like it's the same thing, starting from ground zero and stuff like that. So I love it. I think it's cool. Everything crosses over, that I used in these platforms in media. So yeah.
Nice. Well, let's fill in a gap there because you didn't go right from high school YouTube to marketing for roofing companies. So you've got some professional experience before roofing. So what was that all about?
In roofing or in media in general?
In media before roofing. Yeah. Because what I want to get to is like I want people to see the opportunity to be creative and innovative in a roofing contracting industry that's like several years behind the times in terms of innovation and content, media and software, even automation, things like that. So yeah, I want to use you as kind of a case study for someone who's been in media, in marketing, and is plopping into roofing and be like, wait a minute, here's this industry that's like ripe for innovation. And you guys are already doing some cool things, even in a crowded market like Dallas. So what were some of those experiences that you've had prior to roofing?
So prior to roofing, I think like media was like just an opportunity in general. Like I came up when like Vine was like still a thing. The thing is like when platforms, you have to remember that platforms also compete. They compete for attention. So with that comes new breakthroughs and new opportunities for creators. The thing is like a lot of people just be held back by like, whatever the situation is. They don't have the right equipment. They don't have the right ideas and stuff like that. When in actuality, if they just started, creating content, like for me, I was creating content like in the background with like a lot of influencers. I was networking with a lot of influencers that were leaders in these platforms. And as a result, I would get like a lot of, media attention. But the thing is like, you have to stay consistent. And for me, all my experiences, like it brought me to be able to like work with like the Mayweather family and to be able to work with like top tier boxers and then like top tier influencers, even just YouTube space in general. Right. So like the search engine that everybody uses, I've been to the headquarters. I've done work there. There is opportunity. And I think I said this the other day. I was like, the market, rewards excellence. And so for me, a lot of those experiences, like one of the greatest things that I was ever able to do through my consistency in media was bring KSI to the Mayweather gym. And then even more so to introduce him to his crew to fight Logan Paul, in that two-part series. So, the fact that I came from like nothing, like I came from Section 8 housing, right? And then to be gifted like the opportunity to have that and to brush shoulders with anyone. There's things like anybody can do that. You know what I mean? Like if I can do that, that's the thing about social media and just media in general is it offers a level playing field for every single person. You know what I mean? There's nobody that's like, okay, well, you have the most amount of money or you have the best amount of equipment. Some of the most viral videos that I had were phone videos. When I look at stuff like that, I get really excited about the roofing, community and just contractors in general, because, a lot like when I first started off, is like a lot of people right now in this industry. Media is a very underutilized thing in this industry. And so when I teamed up with Alpha One Exteriors and I teamed up, with my partners there, like everything came with me. And to be able to have that level playing field, but then even more so to be able to connect with a bunch of people in this network, right? And just say, hey, it's not easy, but like here's some things that I learned, right? Like the hard way and stuff like that. Hey, like just try creating stuff like this, just try creating consistency and stuff like that. So that's what I get really excited about. Is when people like say like, oh, I don't really know what to do, and like they write like a full like paragraph message of like how they've tried time and time and again, and I'm like, listen, like you have to continue your resilience, for the things that you want, because it offers a level playing field for everyone. And in this industry, in this specific niche in contracting and there's a lack of information, but then even more so is there's like an abundance of opportunity. So I just like encourage people to like do what I did when I first started and just like just start shooting, like, talk to people, right? Use your law of averages or whatever that, and apply it to your process.
Yeah, lots of good nuggets there, and I appreciate you as a client in our group calls and in our Facebook group. You're bringing some of your experience and expertise, and people hear it from me and my team, but to hear it from someone like you who's got like that specific media experience, I appreciate your dropping your nuggets here and there for people, and those nuggets of encouragement too, because it can be daunting. You're right, like, oh, I'm gonna produce some good video content. Like when we get this microphone and we get this camera, we get this whole setup, and I've used that excuse too, and that became a barrier. That became like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do content until I have like this perfect setup. But like I said, like all you need, everyone's got one of these. Everyone's got a video camera, a movie production vehicle in their pocket right now. So it's sure you want to continually level up your quality, but what you say, is going to be unique to you. So Like just get out there and get started with it.
And honestly, contractor dynamics and the community that you cultivate is perfect because people can feel okay coming in not an expert, right? They can feel okay with talking about their insufficiencies. They can feel okay with talking to the people amongst them because you create such a community and such like it's okay if you're not where you want to be because like you have an array of people that are going to get you there to that. And I mean, you commit so much time to like, you know, individual one-on-ones and then group calls to where like the group, like if somebody else figured out something, like I've had that happen so many times where somebody else was like, oh yeah, check this thing out. And then, you know, but that's what media is about too, is the fact that you can do that. You can have that networking.
Yeah. I mean, anything to shorten the learning curve, like we're all going to make mistakes. So we're not going to eliminate them, but if we can minimize them and we can accelerate a little bit further, or a little bit faster than normally we would on our own, then why not access that network? And you're so right. I mean, with media these days, with social media, people are accessible. You know, whether it's just like watching Tony Robbins videos or, you know, watching some influencers content where we're not actually speaking to them one-on-one, or if we are able to access someone one-on-one or in a group setting, like it's unprecedented. Like there's no excuse, right? We've got access, we've got resources, we've got, you know, maybe the problem is we've got too much content. We don't know how to sift, sort, and screen through all of it, but the resources are there. And for those that like show up and do the work, and those that, like you said, stay consistent with it and trust the process, and continue to network, which I think you do an amazing job with. Like there's an opportunity there, especially in the contracting industry, especially in our world where I think like so many people they want like the magic solution, right? They want like that one video. I'm going to produce this one video and it's going to generate all these leads, or it's going to go viral and we're going to have all these sales reps applying to join our company. That does happen maybe once in a blue moon, but that's not a strategy, right? It's about showing up every day and trusting that process and being consistent with it, and then getting in an environment, or getting together with others that are going to help you continue to refine that process and just get better and better and better. Like those YouTubers that you were talking about before in high school, like they didn't start out like amazing, but they just kept at it. It might have taken them a few years, but they eventually broke through.
Exactly. It's funny that you mentioned about like the viral mindset because I've went viral multiple times. I've went viral to a point to where it's like it's almost like it's lost. It's like lackluster. It's lackluster. You know. So it's like it's funny because what I found in that is it's right. So like people, whatever their perception is, whoever they saw that they thought or got this preconceived notion that like, okay, well, I just need this to hit and then it's all good and like smooth sailing from there. One thing that I learned about viral videos is it's never smooth sailing as soon as a viral video hits. It's about the follow up and what you do to maximize on that. But the thing is like, if you have a plan in place, right, and you're creating media and you're creating content on a consistent basis, you're providing quality content, you have like landing pages, you have your sources, you have your brand established, then you can really maximize on viral content. But if you don't do any of that, I've seen influencers go from like 0 to 100. Right? I've seen people come and go. Rebecca Black, prime example of somebody that I know personally, you know, the Friday girl, right? She had a video, she had her video hit so hard and then there was like no follow-up. It applies to everyone, you know, so I'll repeat it again, you know, the market rewards greatness and, you know, you couldn't say it better, Joe, that building your brand above all else is truly the key.
Yeah, it really is. And on that note of like having that follow up in place, like bringing it to the roofing contracting world, it's like, don't try to go out and get like 100 leads a week, because there's a very good chance that you don't have the infrastructure to handle that, like to handle leads, to get back to people, to keep people in your database, to stay in front of them consistently. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration lies. And like roofing companies, like I need a bunch of leads, because they just need to constantly fill that bucket, because they don't have ways of like turning those leads into appointments and the contracts into lifelong clients. So it's not all about the glamorous front end of getting leads. It's about having a system that's going to be sustainable. And when you have a system like that, you don't need to go viral. You don't need to get a million leads. You just need to be consistent and just keep working, keep that machine running. And the bar in contracting, as far as marketing, advertising, automation, is so low that if you just do the basics consistently and keep that machine running, you're going to win. Some of our clients, like when we have like a client intake, like when we kind of, establish their game plan and marketing, we're asking them a bunch of questions like, hey, John, what makes you guys unique in the Jacksonville market? We call people back and we show up. Like sometimes that's all it takes, right? Just those little things. It's incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned it there. The bar's so low. The bar's so low that it's hitting the nail right on the point that all you got to do is create the content, because there is such a lack of information that is freely given in this community that if you become a connoisseur in one area, create content about that, right? Because number one, you're not going to face burnout. Number two, you're going to help someone. You're going to help someone that's in the exact same position as you are. And that builds long-term value. You're sowing seeds that can be reaped in the long run. So, when it comes to that, dude, just create content and just be consistent with it. So I definitely agree with that. And then we talked about this a little bit earlier, kind of off the call, but there is a lack of influencers or figureheads, right, within this industry. So all they're doing is putting out content. And that's why they stay at the top, which isn't a bad thing. They're setting an example for the rest. But people need to understand that they can create that content. They can consume that content, but they can build a brand that's around stuff like that. And the playing field, it's level. It's a level playing field. So I would definitely encourage people, that feel compelled to do that. I mean, even if you think it's not the best of work, you have to start somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you, John, coming in from kind of your media world into Alpha One, your first experience with roofing, what are some of the things that you've seen like in the roofing industry as far as content? Were you like surprised at anything? Like what struck you?
It's a lack of variation. Because like people that create content, right? If you're going to create content for the first time, you look at once again, the influencers that are there, and you're limited by whoever's putting out what when you do that. So you need to step back away from the plate. You need to say, what is media and how do people in general use it? Look at the sociology of media, right? Social media is made to be social, right? And so if you're not coming at it with that mindset, you're going to hit walls very fast, and you're going to hit a lot of walls. So I've always found that when I pull myself back from an industry, what's that Abraham Lincoln quote? Ask me to cut down a tree and I'll spend like the first 5 hours sharpening my blade.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do that with media. If you want to be somebody that creates media that's like, different, right? That you love to do, like look at things, consume things that you like, and then replicate it, because it's a replicated industry, right? Everything, has been done to some sort of caliber. It might be done a little bit with a different taste, a little different style to it. But when you step back, I'll never run out of ideas, because I'm constantly consuming things from the outside of me, and I'm looking at them from not just an audience perspective, right? So I'm not just watching the TV, but I'm stepping back and I'm saying like, okay, well, how's the TV made, right? And then that is where your whole mindset's going to change. You're not going to find yourself getting caught up in like, oh, I just don't know what to post today, or like, oh, I don't know how to do my series, or I don't know how to run my brand awareness ad. Prime example, that ad that I was running, I think you might have added it to the Dynamics training course. I was what was I doing? I was scrolling through my feed, right? And I was literally just, it sounds really weird, but I was looking at ads. I was literally scrolling through my feed, just looking through ads.
I
Right?
do it as well. Yeah.
And one of them was like Grant Cardone, right? So he's getting out of car. He's like, stop, stop, stop. And then all these graphic like words like pop out at you and stuff like that. And it was like super graphic focused. And I was like, okay, I'm not like outside right now. It's dark. I was like, let me just like do something that's like that. Right? It's not the same. It's a little bit different. But guess
Yep.
what? I haven't seen any ad in this industry that was like that.
Yep.
So as a result, I have a whole roster now of things that I can do with that.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I do, and what I'd recommend. It's like we're all spending hours on this thing every day. So when you're on social media next, or maybe you're on social media now as you're watching this, you're multitasking. Think about what gets you to stop scrolling, right? It's like things like John just said, a Grant Cardone ad that had like a bunch of flashy stuff going on. Maybe it's something that has a hook at the beginning, or maybe it's like an image with like some cool contrast, or maybe it's just something that's very specific to your situation that you're in right now, and something that you might be interested in, whether it's like surfing or running or CrossFit or cooking or anything. Think about and pay attention to what gets you to stop scrolling, and take some elements from those things and bring them into the roofing industry. Because like John said, like there's very little variation. And I think what most roofing companies do is they'll be like, all right, I'm in Tyler, Texas, and there's a couple big companies in Tyler that are doing some cool stuff on social media. I want to get leads on social media, so I'm just going to kind of do what they're doing and put my own spin on it. And that's cool. That's better than nothing. But what's even way better than that is taking something from somewhere else. Maybe it's a book you're reading, or some other thing you're watching on YouTube, and getting some ideas, and just like keeping your ideas. And I have my Moleskine notebook here. Like I'm always keeping ideas here wherever I am. This thing goes wherever I go. Have those ideas and bring those into the roofing industry and give people a fresh perspective. Like your market as a roofing company, like your market, they don't want to see constant photos and videos about roofs. Like they just don't, right? That's like the external problem, right? Some people might be attracted to that, but like you want to make that connection to people. And again, think about what connects you to some of the content that you consume. It's ideally not about the product. It's about emotion. It's about a way it makes you feel, or maybe it's something that's aspirational. How do you connect with certain media, and think about how you can bring that into your content.
Exactly. I think a lot of people, one, they set the bar too low, right? And so they'll either hit it and it won't yield results. I mean, find your motivation. If you're money motivated, that's great. But what I've also found is like people will give up on things that they don't have their motivation for, right? And they don't truly believe in, right? Like if you really love what you do, like when I was creating content, and I was working with these influencers because I just picked up a camera and I loved catching a moment, right? And that for me was a constant fuel to where like nobody could touch me because I wasn't even looking at competitors, right? Mm-hmm. And then more so on the flip side, like my goal, like in media, is like a domination in my industry. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna be something that's like, okay, you obtained it, you're done now. You can just cash out. You can just check out. You've dominated your industry. You're done. I look at like a lot of the boxers that I work with, and like they get one world title, and then it's like time for the next weight class. You know what I mean? Or even if they're retired, they're like, what's the next investment? Right? Their goals were always just massive goals, and they never ended. So I would say the same thing goes for media. Like, okay, what's your goal in media, and then what's your motivation? So I would definitely, recommend that.
Yeah, and it can't be so like you want to be dominating media for some reason. Like I'm sure it's not all about you, right?
Yeah, I have that goal because I know the results of pushing myself to that. As a result, the people that I care about thrive. I'm able to have more freedom. I'm able to control audience attention. I'm able to have a follow-up, because if you don't have any base or foundation, it's really hard to go anywhere. For me, when I say like, okay, I want to be like, you know, I'm going to be a figurehead within, my niche and my lane. And I'm going to dominate my lane. That's a goal that will constantly be growing itself, because there's always going to be someone bigger and better than you. And there's always going to be a new way to do things. So when I look at stuff like that, my goal is appropriate.
Yeah, I agree. I got to keep leveling up. My goal with content and like the video content that I do, I mean, yes, it builds my brand, it builds the Contractor Dynamics brand, it generates business, it makes money. Like that's cool. I mean, that's great. It's a big part of it. But like honestly, I feel this need to help. Like I'm a teacher. My mom was a teacher. My sister was a teacher. Maybe it's in the runs in the family. I don't know. But like I want to help right now our clients in the roofing industry, or anyone in the industry who's not even a client, it doesn't matter. I want to help people like make better decisions around marketing and growing their businesses. And it's not just so they can grow their businesses and make more money and buy a Lambo. It's like they can grow their businesses, they can create better lives, they can have more time with their families, they can have more freedom, like you're talking about. Now, I'm after those things in my own life and my own business, and I want to help others do the same. And I know that marketing is not the answer to everything. Of course, there's different systems in any sort of business, but like it's a big domino that can really create opportunities in a lot of different areas. So that's my motivation. I have kind of networking calls with other like marketing people, every week pretty much. And I was on a call this morning with a marketing agency out in Denver, and we're complementary. So like we provide training, that agency provides services. So in that instance, we're looking to put together a webinar to like educate roofing contractors on how they should be thinking about their marketing, right? If you're a startup, here's what you should be spending. Here's what you should be doing. Should you do it yourself? Should you hire it out? As you grow to say 5, 10 million, okay, maybe that's going to shift where you're outsourcing some things. But I was on this call with these two ladies who own this agency, and we had the same value of wanting to educate so that people can make smarter decisions, so that they can not get, let's just call it straight up. Like they cannot get screwed by unethical, people and marketers who are out for their money. And like, that's just an intrinsic thing that I have to educate. And I want to do more of it. I need to find a time to do more of it. It really helps. And when you get business from it, that's great. But what's really rewarding is like someone will reach out who's not, has never given us a dime, and it's like, yeah, I did what you told me to do, and like in that video, I did what you recommended, and it worked, and like now, like my business is better because of it. Like that's awesome, that's great. It's an amazing world we live in where that can be possible.
Exactly, dude. And I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people in that group, like I know that the quote unquote the best are the best students. And so, I mean, dude, I love the Contractor Dynamics calls, because there's always something that I can always take away from it. That's why I log on. Like you'll say, oh, you guys don't need to show up every day. And I'm like, I need to, because like there's always something new, you know what I mean? And you guys are always providing constant value. And dude, it really does show the kind of heart you have for like teaching people, the patience that you have, and the expertise in your system, right? Like you take your system very seriously. When people sign up, they know that like they're not going to get ghosted. They're not going to get left behind. They can be met wherever they're at. So I think that's probably one of the greatest assets that you bring, other than, being so knowledgeable that you are, like the leader and the teacher that you are, it definitely shows that.
Cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. And really that goes to, and I like to deflect praise and, not let it sit on me too long. Like that goes for any service business, right? It's like you're in roofing, you're in contracting, whatever business you're in, it's all about being that trusted advisor to your clients, right? They put their trust in you, they give you their money, they give you their time, their attention, and it's about providing that experience. And that's, as a service business, like I'm a service business, Jon's a service business, roofing, contracting companies, we're all in the service business. Like that's what we provide. Like our product is the experience. It's not, it's not a roof, it's not Facebook ads, it's not whatever. It's the experience that we provide.
Exactly. I agree.
All right, Jon, this has been an awesome discussion. Hearing some of your background and how you brought some of those tools to the roofing industry and your first kind of foray into this roofing industry. So, for anyone who's running a roofing company or owns a roofing company and is like, all right, I'm bought in, like I know I need to be creating more content, doing this media thing, really building a brand, like Joe says. What are some tips that you have for folks that want to get started with this?
So, I mean, I have a bunch of like acronyms and formulas people can use that I've found just in general. But I'll leave people with a little bit of a nugget that they can kind of sink their brain into when they go into making content. First and foremost, before any of this, just take the step. Just do it. Just go into it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you have to start. You have to break the ice on something. And then what you can do is these three principles right here. It's called the CCC method. So it's content, consistency, and control. Content. You want your message to be clear. You don't want a poor quality. You want your message to be delivered as clearly as possible for the viewer, right? Boom. First C, content. Consistency. You want to have a consistent posting schedule. You want to have a consistency in the way that you're going to deliver information, right? People value their follows. People value who they follow, and they don't want to know that they're going to follow somebody that's going to give up on them. They don't want to follow dead accounts. They don't want to follow someone that's just like one-offing things, right? That's probably one of the most aggravating things to me is I follow somebody because they have like a really cool piece of content and then they never post again. I hate it. And then I end up hating that person even more. Be consistent. Set it in your schedule. You guys are schedule people. Roofers are people that are systematic people. Make a system out of your content, right? Whether it's like, okay, every Monday's the shoot day, we release every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is, make some sort of consistency out of it. Content, consistency, and then the third one is control. Control is by far one of the most important out of all the three. Know where your content is going. Think like a news company, right? Papers have routes, right? Blogs have certain ways of doing distribution. Record labels have distribution. Control where your media goes, and understand your distribution. Set up a distribution plan. Set up PR releases. Your ads manager is a prime example of that, right? Understanding where and controlling where your media is going. So that's what I would say is the 3C method. So content, consistency, and control.
Love it.
Yeah. Fall in love with creating, because there's people that get burned out quickly if they do it and they don't have a goal and a motivation to it. But what about you? So as the expert here, you don't become the expert without practicing the expert things. What are your goals and your motivations for Contractor Dynamics? how do like what are you planning for that people can expect to be a part of or see?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. First of all, I need to echo what you just said about fall in love with that. You didn't say the word process, but fall in love with the process. Like everyone who does something great, it's about the process, and that's certainly my MO. Like I'm not gonna come out and produce some amazing piece of content, but like I just show up every day, every week, and trust the process, and you're be consistent with it. And like I said before, like that is often enough to stand out because very few people, whether it's going to the gym, eating right, producing content, saving money, like very few people follow the process long enough to see results. So just get through that initial resistance where you're creating content consistently. So I love the three C's. Appreciate that. As far as Contractor Dynamics, yeah, I mean we produce a lot of content. People might see us out there, see me out there, and be like, dude, you're everywhere. That's a combination of being consistent and quite frankly, running some ads that just kind of follow you around. Like once you get to our website or watch one of my videos, we're gonna follow you around with some fancy retargeting things that are actually pretty basic, but that makes us seem like we're everywhere. But really, I mean, I think we've got a decent brand in the industry, but we're still just scratching the surface, man. Like the roofing industry is gigantic. The contracting industry is gigantic. We're just focused on a small part of social media advertising for the roofing industry right now. But as we go through 2021 and beyond, we'll be releasing more programs, more courses, more content around different aspects of advertising and marketing in the industry, and going in depth with a lot of those topics. So yeah, I'm excited for that. We're building our team right now, so we can have more capacity to serve more people, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah, working hard, which is why it's Monday and my voice is already starting to go. So I need to get some rest before I produce some more content.
Well, I'll tell you, Alpha One Exteriors is going to be watching, and we're going to be supporting you. You definitely help us, and you guys definitely as specifically shout out to Elizabeth. She does a lot within Contractor Dynamics, so big shout out to Elizabeth. But Alpha One Exteriors will be supporting you, and we're excited to be joining you with that stuff.
Yeah, I'll be down there in Dallas Fort Worth for sure. And yeah, we value you guys as a client. Look forward to doing some more stuff with you guys. So thanks a lot, Jon, for coming on and sharing some of your insights with us.
Good stuff, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right, talk soon, buddy.